I think it would be just paranormal videos. Is that what it is? Is that the movie series where barely anything happens, but like a hose moves and you know that it's a bad thing?
Yeah, that was the one where like
Paranormal Activity.
it's like the
Paranormal Activity.
documentary
Yeah,
style. Yeah.
yeah. Paranormal Activity. Actually, pretty good movie. Like the first time, or maybe even just the first one or two, and then it becomes incredibly boring, just security cam footage. That
Alts. See, you, my friend, did you catch that they're all the same family?
to be honest, I didn't until afterwards. I read about it and like it sort of tied it together and such for me. But I mostly just find it becomes too boring to pay attention to by the third or fourth movie. That would be my hellish entertainment.
I didn't watch enough of those to know it was the same family. I think I only saw the first one.
All right, well, fuck me then. I guess I'm the one who.
No, I think I saw the second one. Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen those in forever.
So the one that's in L.A. with some like Mexican guy, that one's fucking stupid. I didn't like that one. The first two films, very much connected and scared the shit out of me. I remember being in a hotel room with a girl in L.A. and like being like, "Hey, you want to watch a scary movie?" And she was like, "Yeah, I guess. I don't really like scary movies." I was like, "I don't either. That's why I like watching them." Like let's watch Paranormal Activity 2, I think it was. And I just remember like we're like sitting up in bed and I'm like holding her and she's holding me and we're just holding each other watching it. And every time like something happens, we're just like, ah! It was like a roller coaster. Those movies are fucking
But sometimes
scary.
the something that happens is like, did you put the vacuum robot in the pool? No. Did you put the It's in there for some reason. Yeah, a ghost, I guess. I don't know. This is.
Did you put that letter in the mail? No, but it went out. It's like,
Right?
this is a pretty handy ghost. Like,
I could have sworn I pushed all the chairs into the table, but now one of them is not pushed in.
I don't know. I think the footage, especially in the first one, of them asleep and the door like opens and something like walks in, and then you're like staring at that door, so just staring at the darkness, into the darkness, trying to see what it is, and then you hear like a loud crash, like way downstairs, and then the lady's waking up with bite marks on herself, and they put the baby powder on the floor to see what's walking in the room at night, right? And there's hoof marks in the fucking baby's powder. Then they hear the noise up in the attic. So like when he starts going up into the attic, I'm just like, no, don't go in the no, don't go in the attic. No, don't go. And he just like he's like panning his head super slowly. When you know in real life you'd be like, like cover 360 degrees in a fraction of a second. Like that fucking scared the shit out of me. That was so fucking scary. I didn't care for that.
I remember.
Yeah, you're making a good point.
It's probably a couple of years ago now, but the other one you recommended that was really scary, that didn't get me as much as I thought it would, was Babadook.
Babadook scared me so much I had to stop watching. That's one of the few. That's the only scary movie I've ever seen that I my girlfriend and I were both just like, I was like, that's it. We're done. We're fucking done here. She's in bed. The door opens. And it just starts crawling in on the ceiling upside fucking down. And she hides under the covers from it. And it's like right above her bed. And when she pulls the covers down, it like flips and falls right down on her, like face to face. And it's got a terrifying face. I cut it off right there. I turned it off right there. And I know what the Babadook's about. I know the symbolism. I know the meaning of the whole thing and the depression and all that stuff. The monster that was shown on screen fucking scared the fuck out of me.
I'd much rather be depressed than have that thing skittering about on my ceiling.
Oh, absolutely. I'll take depression 1,000 times out of 1,000 than that. Chiz and I watched The Conjuring the other night, and when those little girls are in bed and like something jerks one of them's foot, and she's like, "Stop pulling my foot." She thinks it's her like sister, and then she like sits up and looks over, and the sister's still sound asleep, and she's like looking around. And she like peering into the pitch black darkness, and there's something behind the door, and she's just sobbing. Something's behind the door. Something's behind the door. Oh God, that movie is really fucking scary. The first
I haven't
two
seen that
acts.
one. I've heard it's very scary.
The Conjuring it's not just a good scary movie. It's a great movie. Like if you look at like best horror movies of all time, it'll be in the top 10 list along with like The Exorcist and stuff like that.
Is it, answer me this about it. Is it one of those that is totally high on jump scares?
No.
Or is it one that like cultivates that horrifying like aura that you feel? Because those are the ones like, yeah, the creepy feel that permeates everything. Those are the ones that really get you later. Because the pop out ones, you'll go to bed that night and you're like, whatever. Like it was all just like, oh, you startled me. But those creepy ones, like you'll keep thinking about it.
It's very
creepy.
I
watched Creep 2, Chiz, and Creep 1. Those were very creepy.
The Conjuring builds an absolutely terrifying aura of just helplessness because, like, the dad, who's the guy who plays the dad, Chiz? He's from Band of Brothers. He was not the redheaded guy, but Ron Livingston. Ron Livingston is like the father, the patriarch of the family, like 5 little girls, his wife, and he's a long-haul truck driver. So frequently he has to leave them alone, and it's just the mom to look after the little girls, and then just shit gets scary. Shit gets fucking scary. And you know, there's the team of paranormal investigators who come in, and there's a little bit. All the parts are very well acted. There's some jump scares, like there are in every horror movie. Even The Exorcist had a couple of jump scares, like when she's in the attic with the little candle, and the candle like explodes in her hand or whatever. But it definitely earns its scary moments. It's a good movie. The Exorcist is so good. I watched The Exorcist just the other day.
The original one?
Let Jesus fuck you! Let Jesus fuck you!
My son likes scary movies, but he's never seen them. So he goes on YouTube and he watches, I think it's called Death Count. Are you guys familiar with this at all?
It's how many people die in a movie?
Yeah, and I think they might show the deaths or something. Like I'm not parenting very well. I should know what he's watching on YouTube. But yeah, he'll come and he'll be like, Dad, do you like Saw? And I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. It was pretty good. 13 people died in Saw. And I'm like, I should be watching what you watch on YouTube more carefully, clearly. But yeah.
Well, it's a good, family-friendly, wholesome channel. How many people died in this horrible? And he's not even getting the build-up to scary movies. He's just getting the brutal part, the climaxes.
Yeah, and I should say, Woody, I'm not sure if you're aware how many Saw movies have been made. Those deaths, I'm out of touch at this point. Maybe 7. Those deaths get worse and gorier and more gratuitous as they go. Somehow they got recommended to me just the other day. I was watching Family Guy clips, and all of a sudden it's like, want to watch the laser collar from Saw? Like, yeah? And then it's like, you want to watch the bucket head from Saw? And it's like, no, but yeah.
But I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. Do you want to watch the piano wires pulling the people's legs apart from... No, I don't. Those are really gory and traumatizing.
They are. The best one of that series is the first one. And I guess I'm making a judgment there because I haven't seen all 7, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I saw the first 5, I think. And after the first one, they kind of suck. They're just not very good.
They must be in the backpack.
Okay. Or did you like them?
I don't like them. I liked the first one, but it's degenerated into this sort of like
just gore porn.
Torture porn. I didn't like Hostel. I didn't like the Emerald. What is it? The Emerald Fury or something like that. What's the one where they're dealing with the natives that are torturing the Green Inferno? If you're a real heartless person who's a glutton for torture porn, watch the Green Inferno.
I haven't even heard of that.
There's one called, is it Brazil or the Hostile?
Hostel.
Yeah. Oh, this is the same guy as Hostel. Eli Roth, I think.
It's Eli Roth.
Is Hostel the one where they it starts off on a vacation, kind of a beach party, and then they find themselves running for their lives?
They're in Europe, and they are drugged and kidnapped, and they go to a place where rich people pay to torture people to death.
Yeah.
And they're like secured to a chair with a bunch of implements in the room, and they torture people to death, like slowly for fun.
I know that one. It's not the one I'm thinking of. The one I'm thinking of, it might be called Brazil. They basically they were, I think they find themselves like stranded on a beach. They're on vacation at a beach, and then for whatever reason their ride home isn't there, and they're like, hey, let's just party it up. And by the next morning, people are trying to like harvest them for their liver and things like that, and they escape and they're on the run, and it's pretty good, but pretty scary.
Eli Roth made the Green Inferno, I think, as well as Hostel. He is the Jew Bear from Inglourious Bastards. Yes, the Jew Bear.
The Bear
Jew.
Yeah.
Yes.
A Jew bear, that's just a very frugal forest dweller. 2 berries? Not in this climate.
Yeah, Eli Roth is fucked. He's got those black eyes. Oh, he did Cabin Fever too. That's true, Chiz. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
He's in
I've
a lot
seen
of
that
movies.
one.
Yeah,
he
that's
seems to really, really like to just push the envelope with gore, which kind of gets tedious after a while, you know.
And hopelessness. Like most stories most stories in media have happy endings, or at least middle of the road endings. But his films are so often like they lead at the end of Cabin Fever, right? You think the one guy's like, I made it. The cops finally show up and he's like, help me, I'm not infected. And they just gun him down. They just gun him down right there, and they burn him up with a flamethrower. They burn the cabin down with a flamethrower, and then the camera pans and we realize that like the whole town's water supply has been infected with the virus. Not only that, but they're bottling it up and trucking it out on semi trucks. So the whole country will now be infected with it. The Green Inferno, I'm pretty sure they all just get torture eaten to death. And there is some gruesome...
Oh, it's a cannibalism kind of theme. Okay.
Yes, there's a vagina sewn shut. There's all kinds of fucking shit that go... Yeah.
How does that help you eat someone?
Oh, well, Eli Roth is a sick man.
Oh, like a turducken, you know, where they put a duck and a turkey and then something else in there. They do that with... man, that's grotesque.
Yeah, yeah. It's awful. It's awful. It's fucked. They made 2 more Cabin Fever movies. The first one was enough. It was enough.
People need to stop going to that corner of the woods.
Yeah, I don't like the other one is what's it called? It's the one where there's mutants out in the like.
Oh, Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes. That's fucked.
Hills Have Eyes 2, the beginning scene. I think it was a rape scene in the beginning. Like, I think I might have turned that off right in the beginning of it. You know, I watched it like right when it came out. And I think like I just stopped it because it just came off as creepy, because they weren't even just like, you know, some suave guy who's rich, like Hostel, some of those guys where it's like, oh my God, I would never notice that guy in public. He just looks like a normal businessman. Like they were like that fucking Ephialtes from 300 where they're just all, you know, shitty. And they've got like Ephialtes' body, and then Clint, whatever the fuck, the guy we were talking about earlier, his eyes and head, you know, Clint Howard. Yeah, like his head on Ephialtes' body from 300, and they're just like horribly raping and torturing him. Oh, terrible.
Are you caught up on, is it Terror? The Terror? The show we've been watching?
I haven't watched the most recent episode of The Terror. The last episode of The Terror I saw was when, what was the last? It was the 8th episode. I haven't seen the 9th episode.
Yeah. I guess
it's bleak. Bleak is the best word to describe that fucking show. It is bleak. It is well made, well acted, interesting, but bleak.
Yeah. Bleak is perfect. I thought I was caught up. Now that you mention it, there was a show last night, so I didn't see that. But I'm enjoying it again. There was a moment where I felt like it stalled too much. And but I'm back on board now. I guess I'll watch the remaining episode. Then there's the last one. There's only 10, right?
Correct, Mundo.
We're about to see how this thing ends. And
yeah, they're just all gonna die.
Nothing goes their way.
It's not gonna. They're all gonna die. I think that was made clear in the very first episode, like the first minutes of the first episode, when the Eskimo hands him the buttons. They said not to come, not to follow, or like go away or run or something like that.
It's funny. So you say they made it clear in the very first episode. I'm wired differently, and then I don't trust it. Right? They're like, oh, they said to say that they're dead and not to follow them. Oh. Well, what made them say that? They said that? That means they're saying things. I don't know that the ending they told us is going to be the ending.
They're all dead. The only thing that might happen is maybe one of them survives and has to cut his tongue out to be like the polar monster's muse or whatever the fuck. Like one of them might meet that end. And it might be the guy who's kind of sweet on the Eskimo chick. Maybe that gets worked out for him. But everybody else is a goner. Yeah, the half-assed doctor. I've been watching Westworld, and this week's episode of Westworld is one of the best episodes that's ever been made of that fucking show. Last week's episode, one of the worst. Last week's episode was so bad that I didn't watch this week's episode until yesterday or something like that. And then I watched this week's episode and I was like, I'm fired up again for Westworld. It was fucking excellent. It was William Hurt.
How much is out now?
3 episodes, I believe.
I'm just waiting for this series to get out so I can just watch it all.
Yeah, it's very good.